Welcome back from the All-Star break. Hope everyone had a good week. John, hope you enjoyed a little vacation. You'll drive up north. It's one of the few stretches of the year that get some actual time off, so hopefully that was good. And we got a second half of baseball coming up. It's a marathon, John. It's a marathon.
And we're going to come back in a big way today. I've got 5 bets already. One more probably coming. Stay tuned for the last bet. We'll give you guys a free bet before this is over.
Really quick, guys, for those of you guys who have been watching throughout the first half of the season, please like, comment, subscribe. Please help this thing grow as we continue to do this for the second half. And, John, we can dive right in. Nothing to recap, really. It was a good last couple of weeks there closing out in the first half, and hopefully we can pick up where we left off. We have a nice card coming up today.
Yeah, we finished off with a nice Sunday. Let's get started. Big card, all night games. And let's talk about it. San Diego Phillies starts it, Ben.
Yep, San Diego Philly. That's a good one to get it going. It's a playoff revenge off the bat. We have Padres and Phillies, a little bit of a rematch from the NLCS last year. Darvish versus Sanchez. Now, Darvish hasn't been Darvish lately, but he has good history against Philly, so that's where it gets a little interesting there. He last start before the break allowed 3 runs in 5 innings versus the Mets. All 4 starts versus the Phillies last year were quality starts, including both in the postseason. He has had some road struggles. And then it's Sanchez for Philly, coming off a pair of quality starts, 2 earned runs in 12 innings versus the Rays and the Nats. Padres were playing decent ball before the break. They won 5 of 6. They are 2-9 their last 11 road games. And this Phillies team just right up there with Atlanta, Miami, and the Reds just over this last month been playing really good baseball. They've won 9 of their last 13 here. So 2 teams playing well right now. Yeah, playoff revenge. It makes it tough. Darvish not looking like Darvish lately. You want to go on San Diego here with one of their better pitchers on the mound and a revenge factor. Just hasn't been him lately. Tough to bucket in the Padres' road success. So I'd need more on this price if I were to go on it. But with that revenge, I'm not going against it. So San Diego or nobody.
Yeah, I'm the other way. I'm Philly and nobody on this one. This is just cannot make San Diego a favorite in this spot. Darvish, not only is he hasn't been good recently, he's never good on the road. He's now their 5th best pitcher for San Diego. It's Snell, Waka, Musgrove, Lugo, and then it's Darvish. So you're telling me anybody would be favorite right now, a San Diego team that's not 500 on the road against Phillies, who are a really good home team. Sanchez has pitched good his last couple of starts out. No way can I make them the favorite. I'd be Philly and nobody.
Then we have Giants at Pittsburgh. Both teams were playing pretty bad heading into the break. You have Giants losing 7 of their last 11. The Pirates are 7-19 their last 26, hitting just .212 in that last month. And Pirates did take 2 of 3 earlier this year at San Francisco. Giants won 5 of 6 meetings last year. Maybe a little bit of home revenge here. Stripling versus Hill, just 2 pitchers, really tough to back. Stripling's not going to go longer than 4 innings. Hasn't really gone out of the 3rd inning, I believe, since May. And then you have Rich Hill, who in his last 5 starts is 1-4, 6.43 ERA. Slightly in here to the Giants, not looking to get behind Stripling. Don't love that start. San Francisco, Stripling's technically not a bullpen game, but more so to it. And their bullpen games are good. He's just not the one I want to be backing. It's usually with Giants or nobody, but not looking to back Stripling here on the road.
He froze up there for a second, Ben. I don't know if they'll see it, but anyway, 2 bad teams, 2 bad pitchers going at it right now. San Fran had their little slide. They've got Estrada also on the IL. Pittsburgh's got McCutchen and Hayes on the IL to start the second half. So neither team playing well, neither pitcher pitching well. San Fran's a small road favorite. That's where they belong to be. I'll lay off this one.
Then it's the Dodgers at the Mets. Going to be Verlander and Urias. You have Urias, whose second start back was a quality start, but against that Pirates team who's been last hitting this past month. Prior to that was roughed up at KC for 5 runs, and he's just been really bad on the road this year. 1-4, 8.44 ERA in 6 starts. Meanwhile, Verlander coming off a pair of quality starts. He's been pitching great and great at home. 2-2, 2.19 in 6 starts. Mets have a lot of success in this matchup. They've won 6 of the last 8 meetings. They got hot before the break. They won 6 of 8. Is this going to carry over in the second half? Do the Mets have any of a chance here as far as getting a backdoor into that wild card perhaps? This is Mets or nobody. Got to get started off on the right foot in the second half. Pitching mismatch a little bit here with Verlander versus Urias, especially the way he's been going lately. And Dodgers haven't been too impressive on the road. So got to be home dog here with the Mets or nothing.
Home dog or nothing, Verlander. You got to give Verlander the pitching edge, especially in Citi Field. Urias, 2 starts back, better his last time, as Ben said. But that was against Pittsburgh. He's been absolutely terrible on the road. Dodgers 500 team on the road, guys. Look at the stats, not the names of the teams. Huge games for the Mets coming up right out of the break. Trade deadline, couple of weeks away. How they come out of the break will determine are they buyers or they're sellers. Verlander needs to get a W here for the Mets. Home dog or nobody.
2 questions for you, John, about that NL wildcard. 1, Mets currently 7 games out of it. Do you give them a chance? And then 2, do you see either the central team, whoever doesn't win the division, Reds or Brewers, winning a wildcard spot? Right now, Brewers half game out of that 3rd wildcard spot.
Let's who does more at the deadline? Who gets I was talking about that yesterday, I believe, on Instagram. I still give Milwaukee the edge to take the NL Central, and that's just because of the pitching advantage. So Woodruff, he's getting ready to come back. He's been making some minor league starts. So when you put Woodruff, Miley's look good. Burns is still Burns. He's not the Burns that's been dominating, but you can see he's starting to turn the corner. I look for him to have a good game today. That's why I'm not on the Reds, as we'll talk in a bit. So they're going to have the pitching advantage. And Devin Williams, except for the fucking games that seems that we bet on him, he's lights out other than that. But they've got the pitching advantage, and they're the older team. They've been in this division chase with the Cardinals year in, year out. Since he's the upstart, just doesn't have the pitching. Now, can they go get somebody? It's like I said, you're starting to hear now Giolito's available. Names are starting to pop up. Who's going to make the moves at the deadline? The Mets, the Padres. These couple of weeks, this is it right here. July 31st, I'm ready to make predictions. If everybody stays as they are now, I'll give Milwaukee the edge in that one. Who are you knocking out? Arizona, they're on a little dip right now. San Fran on a little dip right now. Philly, Miami, those teams are coming up. Atlanta, nobody's touching Atlanta. They're going to have the best record in baseball. They're only going to get better. Fried is starting some rehab starts. So once they get him back, that pitching staff just gets even better. So we'll see how it goes. I need to see these first couple weeks. So I'm going to go just today. And just today, Verlander's got to get that edge over Urias and Dodgers. 500 road team. Why are they a favorite if the Mets have the pitching advantage? So I'd like the Mets today.
Then the next game is that Brewers Reds matchup. So they just met before the break. Brewers won 2 of 3 there. They're owning this matchup. They won 5 of 7 this season, 13 of the last 16 at Cincinnati, and currently 1 game back there of the Reds in the division. It's Burns versus Ashcraft. You touched it on already as far as, the Brewers having just more pitching depth for down the stretch of the season. Ashcraft's going to have to be one of those guys that steps up and gets back to where he was in the start of the season. It started to look like he was turning around at the end of the first half. Last 2 starts, quality starts, 2 runs in 12 2/3, but it was against Washington at Washington, worst home team in the NL, and then San Diego on the road. So not too impressive of 2 starts, but nonetheless quality starts. Just bad numbers against the Brewers. Gave up 10 runs versus them earlier this year. Went 0-2, 6.75 versus them last year. And then Burns, he's coming off a pair of quality starts. So Burns has to have the pitching advantage. 5 of his last 6 starts versus the Reds are quality starts. He went 3-0, 2.83. Good matchup history. Brewers own the matchup. This to me is Brewers or nobody here in this one, John.
Yeah, you got to give Burns a big pitching advantage in this one. He's dominated them pretty much. And Ashcraft just got absolutely slaughtered by Milwaukee, and he can't pitch at home either. Did he turn the corner? Did he get back? And his first 5 starts were real good, 5-6 starts. Right now, there's a little money showing up for the short for Cincy in this one, the home dog. So you're looking at 108 to 110 in this game. It's right around with the line I make it. This one's a war. But yeah, would have to want to lean to the better pitcher in that one, and by far that's Burns.
Then it's 2 of these bottom tier NL teams. Nationals at St. Louis, going to be Williams versus Mikolas. Nats, they went 2-5 before the break, but won last 2 versus Texas. They're 6-2, their last 8 on the road, and just 1 game below 500 on the road this season. While the Nats 16-24, while the Cardinals 16-24 at home. This is 2 teams not going well right now, but Washington has had success on the road. Mikolas, he ended the first half, had 7 shutout innings and a win over the White Sox. Prior to that was roughed up for 9 runs and 2 starts. and he's had some home struggles this year. This would be Nats or nobody. Big road dog price. Nats was that last road trip they were on. What was it? Seattle and San Diego mostly. Got a lot of winners there. Had a lot of bets on them there. And have to be looking them back here at this series at St. Louis. I mean, back in mid-June, I was in the believer, and the Cardinals still had time to turn it around and show us something. They started going on a little bit of a run, and then they went to London and it fell off as soon as they came back. Just don't know if they have that in them. And right now, Nats getting disrespected on the road.
Totally disrespected. They have one game under 500 for the season. They're playing better on the road than the Cardinals are playing at home. I can't give Mikolas that big an pitching advantage. These two pitchers actually hooked up last month, June 21st, and Washington won that game 3-0. That was at Washington. Little caveat with that game, that was the final game before the Cardinals were going to take off for London. So was there a little bit of a look ahead to that spot? The number here is preposterous. The Cardinals cannot be the 185 favorite. This is Washington and nobody. We're just waiting for the line to peak. We'll be on the Nationals in this one.
And it's Guardians at Rangers. Guardians got hot before the break. That's how they climbed up to first in the Central. And then Texas, they've been cooling off. They're now, lost 11 of their last 16. Had some struggles there on that last road trip. They do have some good home numbers. Savall versus Gray. Gray's just fallen off these last few starts. He was dominant in the start of the year. We were talking about it. He was having a career year. How long can that last? Has the blister issue. And since then now, 0-3, 6.98 in his last 4 starts. A little bit worrisome. Meanwhile, Savall, he's been very good. 3 of his last 4 starts are quality starts. He's been great on the road. 1-1, 1.25. Holding teams to a 182 average. Guardians on the matchup. They've won 9 of the last 12 meetings, 5 of the last 6 at Texas. All signs here point towards Cleveland. Pitching, the ownership, everything else. Hot versus cold. Going to be interesting. I'm high on this Guardians team, and I think there were some future looks even just because they just have to beat Minnesota, really, and they're in the dance as far as the playoffs go. So there's some value there. I think their pitching has a lot of room to go. Their main guys haven't been giving them production in the first half. I mean, Bieber, Quantrill, McKenzie. McKenzie's been out for most of it. Quantrill and Bieber haven't been as good as they can be. It's been other guys like Savall and Bibby stepping up. So a lot of upsides to Guardians in the pitching could take up. As far as this game specifically, I think it starts here. It's Cleveland or no one.
Yep, this is similar to the Cincy-Milwaukee, the AL Central, same thing. Minnesota's got to get the clear pitching advantage. Bieber has not been Bieber this year. Like, he comes with that occasional blowout game, but hasn't been consistent. Quantrill, he's also back on the injury list. He's been absolutely horrible, and McKenzie's only had a couple of starts all year. So you got to give Minnesota the pitching edge. But all of a sudden, Cleveland, who we made fun of all year, still last in homers. Their bats have started to come around, hitting much better, 272 in the last month. So as their bats are heating up, Texas is slumping. Just no other way to put it. Texas was playing real good ball just before the break. A little bit of a tailspin. Don't like the way Gray's been pitching. As we said, since he missed the start, he was pitching phenomenal. Has a blister, misses a start. Since he's back, not looked the same. Could only like the dog in this one. Teams going in different directions. Pitchers going in different directions.
That it's Rays at Kansas City, and Rays, another one of these teams, hot start, falling off lately. They lost 7 of 8, headed into their break, 11-16, their last 27. Still, though, second best record in the MLB. And this Kansas City team, second worst record in the MLB. So a little bit difference here. But Rays, they have not played well against these bad teams this year. They split at Oakland. They split with Kansas City in Tampa Bay. Last year in Kansas City, Royals won 2 of 3. So matchup might favor the Royals a little bit. Tough pitcher to back, though. It's Marsh, going to be his 3rd career start in the first 2. 8 runs, 7 earned, 3 homers, and 9 innings. So not a good start to his career. Glasnow, he had a little bit of cramping issues. So that's going to be something to watch. If there's any issues at all, I don't see them being risking anything. They're going to be very cautious with them. So he has been pitching well. His K-walk ratios have been ridiculous. 12 Ks, 1 walk against Kansas City a few weeks ago. Pitching is definitely to Glasnow, but the price on this game is just ridiculous considering Rays have lost 7 of 8. You take that out there, you look at the matchup history, take that Rays name out, and it's a way ridiculous price for the situation.
Rays have lost 7 and 8. They'll be without their all-star Yandy Diaz. He's on paternity leave, and Joshua Lowe, he went out on a medical emergency just before the all-star break. So take 2 big bats out of the lineup. Team isn't winning, isn't scoring, but this is a absolute pitching mismatch. Give me one sec here. Just looking at these lines move, guys. We're a little earlier today, so just bear with us. Yeah, let me get this out. Hold on, Ben.
Yeah, no worries. So as far as this Rays Kansas City game, going to be interesting with Tampa Bay as far as how much of their drop off is going to be. The AL East to me is the most fascinating division down the stretch here because Red Sox are the farthest team out, 9 games out. Rays have been slumping. Baltimore still playing good ball. Yankees had a lot of injuries. Red Sox have had a lot of injuries, especially in pitching regards. A little bit of a division up for grabs. Obviously, there's going to be a couple of those teams in the wild card. Rays, as a second half read, you got to come out against Kansas City. I mean, that's part of it too, John, is they get the blessing of getting the second worst team in baseball out of the break after losing 7 of 8. So it could be a little bit of a chicken soup situation.
And just what the doctor ordered exactly. If it's anybody but Marsh, I would take a shot with KC. I still might, depending on where that line go. But Glass now, as Ben said, 12 Ks, 1 walk against Kansas City last time out. But even more impressive, his last game against Atlanta Braves, 8 Ks. That's 8 Ks, 1 walk. That's a real hitting team. So he looks like he's turned the corner. So pitching mismatch, but the number's insane. Again, it's a home dog, KC or nobody. Can't lay Tampa Bay at that number.
Then we have Astros at Angels, and this is just hot versus cold ownership. Once again, one of these division battles. You have Houston now 8-4 before the break. They did lose 3 or 4 against Seattle. Bats went cold there, and Angels lost 9 of their last 10. So 2 teams trending in different directions right now. Astros have won 9 of the last 13 meetings in Anaheim. Going to be France versus Ohtani. Could be possibly one of Ohtani's last few starts in the Angels. We'll see if they actually deal him at the deadline. He was roughed up for 5 runs his last time out. Prior to that, 3 straight quality starts. Was roughed up by the Astros his last start against them earlier this year. 2 starts this year, not ideal. Owned them last year, 3-1, 1.21. This is has to be Houston or nobody. I mean, you're just looking at 2 teams going in 2 different directions right now. France has been on a tear, 6 straight quality starts. He gets the pitching edge over Ohtani. And I don't see how you can make the Angels this big of a favorite. I get it, Ohtani, the name, everything else, but still can't make an Angels team 1-9 in the last 10 this big of a favorite.
About 9-10. Trout still out there, banged up. Ohtani now. Trade rumors talking about is this could be, as Ben said, one of his last starts. And Ohtani, 2-3, 4.07 ERA his last 6 starts. That's how he's been. Got banged up by San Diego his last time out. I'll still give Ohtani the pitching edge, but France has been pitching real good. Houston owns the matchup. Houston and nobody in this one.
Just as a read there, John, would you trade Ohtani in the Angels' shoes? Could you make that? Could you pull the trigger to give up one of the best players ever?
The guy is he's a draw. He's a unicorn. He's a phenom. What can you get back from him? I would never trade him. It's unfortunate that the Angels just can't win in Trout and Ohtani's career because you've got 2 of the best ball players in Major League Baseball that you can't fill in a team around that. But there's no replacing Ohtani. There's no fair trade value. If you're not going to pay him what's going to be the biggest contract in baseball ever, you may as well. So that's a personal decision. But I mean, if he was a New York guy, if he was a Met or a Yankee, he would never go anywhere because he would be just an unbelievable draw. Face of the franchise, he would never go anywhere. It was basically like Judge. They had no choice but to pay him last year, especially with the homers. So what Ohtani's done this year with the homers, with the pitching, you're forced to pay him. But what do you get back? What could you possibly get back to replace Ohtani? And I see, like I said, we talked about it yesterday. It said the Yankees, I guess it was Buster, the guy from ESPN.
Buster only, yeah.
The Yankees. What are they giving up? Are they giving up Judge for what are they giving up? You know what I mean? Are they sending Anthony Volpe there? What's going to get Ohtani? So, I mean, I don't see it. Ohtani's great. Just let's hope he's not that great tonight.
Yeah, definitely. He's not that great tonight. It's toughest question to ask a GM to give up a generational talent like that. Because what's worst case scenario? They walk. I mean, it's a different sport. But look at OKC when Kevin Durant left for Golden State. They didn't get anything in return in that situation. Obviously, that just takes a hit there. So you don't want to be the GM that doesn't get anything back for Ohtani when he just walks in free agency. You don't want to be the GM that trades him away. That's a tough dance. We'll see what they do. Then we have Twins at Oakland. Still waiting on a pitcher for the A's here. This is going to be Maeda for Minnesota. He's been solid, 2-1, 1.59 since returning. Twins ended the first half getting smoked by Baltimore and scored just 5 runs there. Much like Tampa Bay, though, for a team who's trying to catch Cleveland in the division, who's just right there behind them. This is exactly what the doctor ordered, like you said, to get Oakland out of the break. Got to see who their pitching is. And this is a little bit of a side note, but coming out of the All-Star break, if you don't have a pitcher on the Friday where the games start going listed, it's a little bit of an organization concern because some of these teams, like the Mets, for example, they've been planning their pitching rotations since before the break. They've been moving things around so they can get Scherzer an extra start, get him coming back again. So definitely a concern there to the couple of teams who have not decided a pitcher yet today. We'll see who Oakland ends up coming up with. Either way, it's probably going to be Twins or nobody. They won 5 of 6 meetings last year. Going to be a hefty price. Would have to lay the run line. I just have no interest in the A's here coming out of the first half. And we might be having another bet coming out to you guys. I think that's what's going on with John off to the side here. We'll see if that's the case. Already, 5 bets now out today? 6 bets out today?
Yeah. Well, just give me 1 second. I'll be right back to you, Ben.
No worries there. Talked about it earlier as far as this division with Cleveland wanting to be, or Cleveland to be a lot of value in the future. It's interesting. They have Minnesota, who is the favorite in the division right now, minus 145 to win the Central, currently a half game back of the Guardians. And I just don't see it. I mean, they've been getting a lot out of the pitching already. Gray and Ryan and Lopez, even O'Bear. I mean, the pitching has been phenomenal for Minnesota. But it's kind of draws up to what they were last series. They had great pitching, but couldn't get it done against Baltimore. So as a season read, I'm expecting them to start turning downward. Guardians really pulled away last season. I think that continues. But heading in Oakland out of the All-Star break, John, I mean, that's ideal. That's what you want.
Yeah. Oakland, I think the situation there is that they're deciding whether they're going to have an opener for them. They've been doing this opener deal and then filling in the pitcher also, but we still got to wait for Oakland. Maeda looked real good since coming back. He got off to a rough start coming off the injured from last year, but since he's back, looked real good. His situation, it looks like Minnie in Cleveland for the last few weeks, even before the All-Star break, Cleveland would have a tough team while Minnie had a weak team, and they're flip-flopping back and forth. So right now you find Cleveland in first place after the Twins got swept at home. That was a tough game to get, a tough series to get swept at home by Baltimore. Didn't score a lot of runs. Well, here's Oakland, who's got the worst team ERA in Major League Baseball. They've got to score some runs. They've got to get some W's against the A's while Cleveland plays the AL West first place Texas Rangers today. So we'll see what that number is. But you're going to have Minnesota anywhere from $1.50 to $1.60 favorite on the road, depending on who that pitcher is. We'll see when that pops up.
That is Detroit at Seattle. Detroit, a little bit of woes before the break. They lost 4-6 on the homestand. Meanwhile, you had Seattle. They got hot before the break. They won 7 of 9, including 3 of 4 against Houston. Really big wins against Houston. Had the All-Star game in Seattle, so might be a little bit of just something cooking in the air. They got hot. They had the big week there. It's going to be Rodriguez versus Castillo, and this is auditions here for Rodriguez before the deadline pretty much. First start back, he was roughed up for 5 runs, 2 homers versus Oakland. 2 starts versus the Mariners last year, gave up 9 runs off 4 homers in 10 innings. Not pitching well in that one start, not pitching well against Seattle. He was great before going on the IL. We'll see if he gets back to that. And Castillo coming off a quality start versus the Astros. He's been excellent at home, 5-2, 2.44 in 11 starts. This is a Seattle team who owns the matchup. 8 of the last 10 meetings. You get the pitching advantage with Castillo. They're playing hot right now. Tigers are cold. This is Seattle or nobody, worth the run line look there.
Yeah, I'll give Seattle the edge in just about everything, pitching advantage and everything. Just a big number. Seattle, they took 3 of 4 at Houston. Before that, just really weren't getting it going. Did they cool off at the All-Star break? We'll see. Just a big number. If Rodriguez could get back to what he was early in the season, huge overlay. Or is this Rodriguez who came back in his first game back? We'll see. At plus 160, I'd be Tigers or nobody.
Then Marlins at Baltimore. You have this Miami team coming off a 5-2 homestand. They've been great lately. To me, this is Well, Sandy Alcantara pitching today. He is the biggest X factor of any player in the second half. If he can get back to what he is or what he can be, this Miami team has a real chance to be a threat. They already set down Yuri Perez, which is just a weird situation altogether. They have him on an innings restriction. So that was a guy who was giving them some great starts. You're losing that. If you don't get Alcantara back, it's going to be tough to hold on to what they've been doing this last month or so. And it's going to be Creamer for the Orioles, who's coming off a quality start. Prior to that was roughed up in his 2 prior starts by the Twins. This is tough read on this game. Baltimore, nobody for me. I'm not a believer in the Sandy flip around, but he can be that X factor. Marlins did have some success in this matchup, but that goes back to 2020. This is Baltimore, nobody for me. Give me, second best team in the AL at home.
Yeah, I got to agree with you on that one. But the price is they've already buried Baltimore. So the price just went up to 135. It opened at minus 125. At this point, it may be even a little bit high. I like what I've seen with Alcantara the last 2 starts. Baltimore, another team better on the road than they are at home. Let's see about this Miami spot here. I just think it just could be just a little high now at this number. 125 I thought was the right number.
And it's D-backs at Toronto. Still no pitcher yet for the Blue Jays, so I have to wait to see what we get there.
Going to be just putting Berrios in now. Berrios.
Going to be Berrios. Okay. That makes my lean there to Arizona a little bit stronger. Nelson is a pitcher who's got to be up there now with Blackburn and Josiah Gray, just as far as ridiculous reverse splits. Can't get it done at home. He just crushed his last start for 7 runs in 3 innings versus the Mets. 2 starts prior to that, both quality starts on the road, 2 runs in 14 innings on the road on the season. He's 3-1, 2.81 in 9 starts. So just a different pitcher on the road. We'll see if that continues at Toronto. Blue Jays headed into the break hot. They won 5 of 6. D-backs were cold. They lost 5 of 7. This to me is going to be Arizona or nobody. Wanted a decent pitcher in there for Toronto. Imagine it'll be a bit of an overlay there with Berrios. Nelson, like I said, raw numbers don't look so great, but you look at him on the road, just completely different pitcher.
Yeah, Arizona, they had a lead for a big part of that first half in the NL West while they go into today, actually percentage points behind the Dodgers. Tied as far as games, but percentage points behind the Dodgers. So let's see how they play from behind now. They're a little cold. I see them sliding. I see Toronto coming up. We'll look what that number is. Berrios, I'm going to say is about a 150 favorite. It should be at least a 150 favorite. We'll see what that number comes up.
And we'll see where that goes, guys. As you guys know, how to beat the bookie members will be updated and all the information we put on the site. So if you're not a member, go check that out. Download the app. Next game, John, White Sox at Atlanta. Braves, just ridiculous close to the first half. I don't know how else to describe it. 27-5 down the stretch. Now the best record in baseball. They lead in home runs, second in hitting, second in scoring. Not even going to think about going against them, especially with one of these AL Central teams. White Sox, they lost 5 of 6 before the homestand, on the homestand before the break. Then it's Kopech versus Morton. Kopech returning from the IL, so that's a concern. Morton's been solid his last 2 starts, 1 run in 12 innings. This is pitching mismatch, a pitcher returning from the IL. AL Central versus the best team in baseball is just playing absolutely lights out the last month or so. All you square bettors riding the Braves, keep doing it.
Yeah, why not? Only problem is, did the All-Star break stop their momentum? Did that break up what they had going on? But everything else is Atlanta. And throw in Robert for White Sox, tied for 3rd in homers with 26 homers this year. He's going to be questionable. There's no reason for me to want to jump on the White Sox.
And it's Red Sox at the Cubbies. Red Sox, they have won 8 of their last 9. They got hot before the break, scoring 6 runs per game. Cubs, they went 4-3 on the road trip. Going to be a good pitching matchup. Bayo versus Hendricks. Bayo, 6 straight quality starts, 3-2, 2.24 in that stretch. And then you have Hendricks going. They've won 5 of his last 6 starts. 4 of those quality starts. Last one was roughed up against the Yankees. 10 hits, 4 runs, and 5 2/3. This to me is Boston or nobody. Now the price is too high for me to lay this Red Sox team on the road, but they've been very streaky this season when they get hot. A little concern, can it carry over to the road? They tended to hit better at home, so gonna have to see there, but I'm not getting in the way of Bayo. He's been pitching phenomenal lately.
Yeah, this one of the hottest games of the day opened up -110 on the overnight, sitting at -130 now. I just can't make the Red Sox that big a favorite at Chicago over Hendricks. We had Hendricks his last time out. He did get a little roughed up by the Yankees, who don't have many bats in there, as we'll talk about in the next game. He gave up 10 hits. That was probably his worst start on the road because he had been really good on the road. Let's see what we get out of Hendricks in this game. Red Sox, all of a sudden, hey, they're back in the race after that little hot. Yanks are falling without Judge, and we'll talk about that in the next game. So the side is the Red Sox. I just think it's a little too high now. No value laying $1.30.
Boston currently just 2 games out of the wild card. They're chasing Toronto there. They're 1 game behind the Yankees, like you said, so very much so in it. And that's the last game here on the card. Yankees at Colorado. Yankees got cold before the break, lost 4 of their last 5, scoring just 2.8 runs per game. Rockies, they've dropped 6 of 7, scoring 3.43 runs per game. Rodon versus Gomber. First glance, you got to give Rodon the pitching edge, but Gomber lately has been solid. I mean, Rockies, they won his last 3 starts, 2 of those quality starts. They've won 5 of his last 6 home starts, and Rodon just second start back from the IL. So how much can you expect from that? Did see Rockies a lot last year, but never pitched in Coors. So that's a big difference pitching in San Francisco against a team they own versus going out to Coors Field. So how much of a leash does Rodon have here out of the All-Star break? That's going to be interesting to see. Big price in Colorado. And this one, John, Rockies are nobody.
Insane. The Yankees couldn't be this big favorite if Judge was in the lineup. So let's throw those stats one more time. Yankees 19-23, scoring 3.64 runs per game and hitting 220 without Judge in the lineup. So 3.64 runs per game would make them 29th in scoring, and 220 would make them last with Oakland. Forget the Yankees. Look at those stats. How can you make Rodon in just his second start back? He threw just 69 pitches in his first game back, 5 1/3 innings. How long do you expect him to go at Coors in his second start? The number's ridiculous. Colorado's been cold. Yankees have been just as cold. I give Colorado's the bet here. I took 180 last night as soon as this line came out. It's Rockies or nobody.
Yep, Rockies are nobody there all the way. As John said, that is the one free bet, but a lot of bets already out today, guys. So if you aren't a member yet, it's a good day to sign up. It's a good month to sign up. July last year, up over 40 units. Didn't have a negative month from this point on last year up until November. It was a really hot stretch. And the year before that, John, only 1 week losing after the All-Star break.
This is our time of year. We just get a really good read at this point. There becomes a lot of overlays, as you've seen it with the Yankees. If Judge was in the lineup, like I said, the line should still shouldn't be Yankees 200 on the road. Coors Field, guys, you guys know I talk about it all the time. The Rockies are in danger of finishing under 500 for just finishing under 500 at home for just the second year in the last decade. They just win their games at home. They're worth the price. Look, could the Yankees bomb them out? They sure can. But this price is worth it, worth the Rockies. And this is what I talk about, overlays. We get plenty of overlays this part of year. It's just picking the right spots. I think this is a right spot, and I think I got a lot of right spots today.
A lot of right spots, guys. You guys know where to go to sign up for that. And a few pitchers to be announced, some lineup changes, obviously, as well. So keep noted on the app and on the website. Like, subscribe, comment below. John, was a good first half, and let's make it a great second half, huh?
Yeah, let's get started today. Let's make some money.
Let's make some money.